Hey guys, your grandpa John coming at you with another Diablo 4 video. All right, on this video, it started out as I wanted to record to do a tier 4 run because I had someone in chat offer me to power level me to get me in tier 4. They did the dungeon. Then we literally unlocked tier 4 after I just unlocked World Tier 3. And they're like, hey, I got these nice sigils. Do you want to run one? And I figured, you know what? It's going to be a great video. Let's go ahead and run a tier 26 and see how hard it really is when I've only just entered tier 3 myself. And honestly, guys, it was so much harder. Like the dungeons themselves were significantly harder. Obviously, going from World Tier 3 to World Tier 4, Tier 26, massive jump in difficulty. However, as you can see from my screen here, we're going through the reward, right? So it's all about risk versus reward and what you can do with it, how it can benefit you. Hopefully, if this is a question you're trying to ask yourself or figure out, stay tuned and enjoy the video. All right, so we're gonna make a quick one here. In case anyone was wondering, what's it like to be carried into World Tier 4 from, say, I don't know, World Tier 1, 2? It's interesting. So basically what we got going on here now is one of the viewers was like, hey, John, like I'll help you out. Like we'll do some quick carries. We'll do this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do that. Let's see what we can go. Like, see what we can get. This is a tier 26 dungeon. So obviously they used a sigil, a nightmare sigil, to get us up there to this rank. They're just trying to help us out, right? Trying to get XP, trying to get good pieces of gear to drop, so on and so forth. Unfortunately, being level 53, with not the correct fully build, like tier 4 is no joke. It definitely, this is embarrassing, to be quite honest. Like I can't really touch anything. I'm a rogue and I'm like struggling on any ads, as you can see there. Like I just got caught and I've just barely got out of that one, right? Just barely got out of it. And even then I didn't get fully out of it because I still ended up in an AoE because I was trying to watch my HP too much. But like you can see, even on normal ads here, right? Like these are the lesser ads and I'm still struggling. But again, they're level 80. I'm level 53. I got the right skills. All the skills are correct. I'm using the rogue poison build, so it's not like, okay, there we go. But it's not like I got the wrong pieces of gear equipped currently. Let's just see if I can, okay, so I can take on a single ad just fine. Just don't ask me to take on multiple ads, apparently. But this is a lot harder. It makes a big difference. I don't know that I would advise getting hard carried to the higher tiers like this. Don't get me wrong, the XP seems to be great, but everything else, like the simple fact that I can't really help out, I can't really do a whole lot. It's kind of disheartening and almost demoralizing, because it's like you know how to play, but because you're being carried and you're moving up higher, you can't do anything. So you kind of got to be cognizant of, okay, like at what point is it okay to jump ahead? Like at what level should I get carried, right? Like if you're going to have friends and stuff like that, like obviously you guys saw with the level 1 through 20, like world fastest or whatever. And it was literally, you know, Chosen made a video where he went into a stronghold and it higher tier strongholds, a couple level 20s, just kept resetting it. And he got a crap ton of XP super quick. It's a hard carry. But in situations like that, yeah, that's great for low levels, because as long as you stay at a low level and you're progressing or whatever, you haven't gotten to this point in the game where scaling is going to hit you super hard, because as you level up, all the opponents will also scale. So that makes this even more difficult to be power carried. Not only because, yeah, like the damage scales, and unfortunately you only get 4 revives per dungeon in this type of groups, but it also just makes a big, massive difference in the amount of just overall what you can do. Because even then, you get power leveled, unless you're getting really god tier drops out of this, it's not going to be worth your time in the end. You're going to end up over leveling yourself, not having the gear to back up the over levelness, and then you're kind of just going to brick your account, and you're going to have to go backwards, right? You have to go back to another world tier to kind of make up for this. And I'm sure as you guys are kind of watching, you can see on the right here, we've already had two releases used here, or 2 revives. Luckily, we do have one guy, Nabith, who's at a higher level, so he's able to do a lot of these things and basically solo carry us, essentially. but it does. It is it's a little interesting, to say the least. What I'll do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna continue this fight here, and I'll probably pop back in right as we do the boss, so that way you guys can see just how it is like doing a boss fight when you're so under leveled, like and just see that way you just have an experience of like, okay, so at level 53 with this type of stats, this is the difficulty that I'm gonna have to face, right? That's kind of important to know, like know what you're gonna deal with. I'm stuck again. Oh my god, this is just, oh gosh, this is rough. All right, I will be RB with the video, guys. All right, well, as you can see here, we just started the final fight. Like I said, this is a lot harder, a lot different, a lot more difficult. I just literally went from just starting World Tier 3, doing basic dungeons, to now we are doing World Tier 4, Tier 26. This has been a very interesting thing. Like, I think, honestly, I should probably not even bother trying to attack the main guy and just wait for the ads. Like, I think that's my contribution to this team right now is, oh, don't get hit. That's cool too. Is there an ads? Nope. That's just the Hydra. That's okay. But yeah, this is hard. This is a lot harder. Okay, there's the perfect time for us to just go ham with poison damage, dot damage, all the damage. Let's go. Okay. And we're still doing some damage. Ooh. See, I don't even know how I got hit on that one. I think it was just a residual that got me. Yeah, it's rough. Kaylin's just kind of bouncing around. She's also super under level. We're both kind of getting power carried right now. Yeah, for the casual player, this is no joke for sure. Not something I would recommend a lot of people do. I would definitely not recommend everyone come in and try to do these types of dungeons. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, see this, like, here you go, case in point. And as you see here, we've just barely beat that, and we had 0 revives available. So, which is insane. Oh, hey, there we go. And there's my, that's awesome. That's actually that's the perfect ones. Perfect, okay. Sweet, all right, so that was rough, ladies and gentlemen, that was very rough. But in the end, we made it. Major boosts and upgrades. Look at the difference just in the amount of gear that it's going to give me. So completing that, these are all pieces of gear that I can wear. So at this point, honestly, it's in my best interest to want to dump something like that. But to grab all this good stuff, oh, waking glyphs. I do have a couple of glyphs to awake. I can upgrade here. Let's see, I want that one, poison damage. Okay, but yeah, this does make a big difference in just everything, really. I think I can turn this around and make this a super positive for me by going back to town, fixing this gear. Oh man, the gems went away that he dropped for me. But going back to town, fixing my gear, and I think that in itself will allow me to make a big difference in here. Okay, so let's see. Let's teleport out and we'll take a look at it. I'll be right back and we'll figure out what makes the most sense and how I want to approach it, because it made a big difference getting carried to World Tier 4, but I may actually be changing my tune of this, because if I can get these legendaries sorted with these pieces of gear, that actually makes this a win-win situation for me and maybe actually be more helpful than you think. All right, so I thought about it. I talked to some people. We ran some dungeons. So for those of you who saw earlier, obviously we're just continuation of this video here, but we're about 3 hours after the last section that I went ahead and recorded on. And what we're trying to do now is I'm going to show you, okay, so what we have here is I have all this gear. Now, I mentioned that getting carried in Tier 4 was kind of hard It was hard for me. It was kind of painstaking, right? Like they had to do all the carrying. Legitimately, I was just a floor tank at this point. But I did get a lot of gear out of it, right? We got a lot of higher tier gear. We got a lot of massive upgrades for the system, right? Depending on what I want to take, like in this case, this wasn't really an upgrade, but depending on some of the gear, it may be advantageous to do this, because what is going to happen here is we didn't continue on too much further in the tier 4 ones just because I got tired of getting carried. It's just not that fun, right? However, a lot of this gear is such higher level right now. If I were to equip it, right? So basically, if I salvage my aspect on my other gear and then I go ahead and imprint these new pieces of gear, there's such a high tier upgrade for me that it just allows my build to progress that much faster, right? And that's part of the whole process of leveling. And honestly, that's where by doing it this way could actually be even more beneficial to a lot of people, right? This is very interesting piece of gear here. It's got +2 to twisting blades and rapid fire, which would be good if I was using rapid fire, but I'm not, unfortunately. So it's kind of a meme, but whatever. But it can make a big difference, right? Because if this gear is +74, let's say it was even higher, right? Like let's say the difference was even higher and it was like plus, I don't know. I'm sure there's gonna be one that has a bigger jump that'll make the most sense here. Let's take a quick look. Okay, so like here's one that's +157. That's pretty high. That's pretty substantial, right? Now, granted, in this particular case, so let's see, what would we lose? We lose Poison Trap, 2 to Dark Shroud, doesn't matter. Life Generation will not damage recently. That is kind of helpful, but it's not necessarily needed. Honestly, we could totally go 1-for-1 on these, and it would be a massive upgrade to my build because it'd give me movement speed, it'd give me damage reduction, which is huge from like a lot of things, right? And it's 2 sockets. So this would be one of those situations where this is +157. It's probably worth it and advantageous for me to go ahead and take my pants currently, salvage that aspect because it's an aspect I kind of want to keep for now, and then imprint it on this piece of gear, and that'll make a big difference. Now, if I already had this aspect unlocked, I wouldn't need to do the salvage and doing it, but it's little things like that that make a big difference when you're trying to really climb the leaderboards and just really get your build fleshed out more, right? Because sometimes it's just one of those situations where if you don't have your build set up properly, you really feel like it really feels a lot harder than what it should be. And that's part of the reason why, like, talking about this video is simply, I don't want you guys to struggle when trying to do the jumps from tier 4. And I don't want you to feel like, yeah, I'm going to get carried from tier 3 to tier 2 to like, I don't want you to feel like you should be carried the entire way through, because there are some things that's going to make it harder for yourself, but there are some positives you can take away. And that's basically like, hey, if you do get carried, pay attention. Don't go too far down the rabbit hole that you get. Pay attention to what aspects you're getting with dungeons when you're farming those higher sigils with other players. Like, try to pick dungeons that give you your guaranteed aspects for your build, so that way you can just always imprint them as you get higher tier pieces, right? Because that's a huge advantage as well. But overall, just kind of pay a little bit more attention to what your gear is, instead of just saying, oh, this is an upgrade, this isn't an upgrade, and then tossing it. Because as you get higher level tier gear, something may look god tier, and then when you dig into it, it really doesn't matter. Like, it could have a bunch of useless modifiers that don't help you with your build. But at the same time, a piece of gear that's level or even close to another one may actually be so much better, because it's going to modify your actual skills themselves, which can be a lot more impactful, right? So just basically be aware, like, hey, what's it like to be power level to tier 4, and how do I go through the gear? I'll try to do a better detailed guide on, hey, this is how you kind of look at gear and troubleshoot it and mix and match. I should definitely do that video. I'll try to see if I can't make that this week with my PC. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this helps you at least have a better understanding on what the jump is from tier 3 to tier 4 when you're not ready, and how hard it's going to be. And also hope you understand the difference in the benefits of getting a little bit of powered level here, just in case that's something you're trying to do.